Hello, I'm Gregorio Luke in this series where I'm trying to make recommendations of how to incorporate art and culture into your daily life. One of the things that I believe are indispensable when educating a child is stimulating the habit of collecting. Collecting is a way where you begin to define your own taste and you begin to get and gain expertise on something. When I was a child, I remember that my mother stimulated in me all kinds of interesting collections. I used to collect wrestlers, plastic wrestlers, and I had more than 300 of those. Then I collected cars, little cars. And then even interesting things. My mother, for example, got me started collecting daggers, which seems an unusual choice. But in those days, it was possible to bring daggers in the airplanes. And so my mother brought me a Chilean dagger and an Asian dagger and then all kinds of Mexican ones and machetes. And I had all this collection that I thought was tremendously important. And my mother trusted me enough. I do not encourage any of you to do that. I also collected matchboxes. Most of my collections are in Mexico. I only have with me those that are portable. For example, I love collecting miniatures. And I've got these little sculptures. This is a magnifying glass that was given to me by my dear friend Mary Alice Knox. And it has a little lion on it. And so, like here, for example, you see the Mexico's Angel of Independence. And then here you have a little dancer. And then this is a bullfight, a miniature bullfight, where all of the elements are present. Only Mexico and China have mastered the art of miniatures like this. And then I incorporated this one is of Don Quixote and Sancho Panza. Eventually I was able to get the smallest edition of Don Quixote that exists. And later on, I learned that these were not just eccentricities. A lot of the sailors that crossed the Atlantic had all these miniatures and they read them with big magnifying glasses. And it was it's almost like a solution of that movie Downsizing, you know? You have this small library that you could read. And then other things, this miniature mask of Italy was brought by my mother, or little dishes or little instruments, or two roosters fighting. But as I was saying, I think that collecting is also a way of educating your kids. And I am very proud of those collections that I have stimulated in my children. It's my son Andres, when he was a little boy. And the first thing that he brought me were a series of rocks that he had found. And so most of the time, people don't give importance to those things. But I looked at those rocks. And Andres and I developed a criterion to determine which ones were the better ones. Some of them have an obvious attraction, like this one that is shiny. And this one that has an interesting color. But others were beautiful to my son. And I kept all of them and I gave them a place of honor. And I still have them 50 years later. All these are natural objects that he brought and found, and we polished together, and we talked about which rock was better than the other. And this led to other wonderful collections. When we used to go to archaeological sites in Mexico, like in Teotihuacan, we started to collect little pre-Hispanic symbols like Quetzalcoatl, or this image of the sun, the image of Tlaloc, a figure of the pyramid itself. And we went and we got these little pieces, and we went up to the pyramids and down. And it was a bonding experience for us. Perhaps the first time that my son collected a human-made object. Now, I think that the graduation of my son as a collector came when he started collecting something, and I didn't even know he was doing this. This is something that he discussed independently on his own and secured the help of his mom. But his choice really amazed me, because it is a collection that I would have wanted to do but never did. And suddenly I find my 12-year-old engaged in collecting nutcrackers. Nutcrackers. Perhaps the greatest symbol of classical ballet and children. And my son found some real gems that I don't know how, like the mouse nutcracker. In the ballet, the king mouse is the enemy of the nutcracker. I don't know where he found this Dracula nutcracker. Or a female nutcracker. A pirate nutcracker, or a horse riding nutcracker. So all of these come out every Christmas. And I was talking with my son yesterday, and he said that he had paused in his collection, but he was getting ready to resume it. So this year, 2018 is starting, and a good way to create bonds with your children and to develop their interest and an activity that takes them away from the tyranny of the screens is to look at the world and begin to define what you like and pursue it and enjoy it. So I hope that in this new year, many of you and your kids will also become collectors. Thank you.